welcome to Divide and Conquer presents Spicy Book Hour with Madam Jess. I am Madam Jess. Hello. Tonight we are joined by Sid. Oh, wait.
Hi.
We are joined by Claire. We're joined by Jennifer. And we're joined by Lee. She's not perceived, but she's here.
Hello, I'm here.
And tonight we were going to be talking about Sarah Blue's Nobody's Darlin. This is a Motorcycle Club Omegaverse book that has some things with it. We're going to get into all of those things, and I'm going to be posting all of the trigger warnings in chat just so you know what they're getting into. Oh, that is not what I was trying to post. That's fine. I'll post it in just one moment. We all read Nobody's Darlin at various points. We have some thoughts. So I'm very excited to see what all of those thoughts are. As you know, because we're Divide and Conquer, we have all of our friends' links down below. We are also partnered with Nimroot, and they make wonderful dice trays, dice vaults, custom tables. They do all kinds of stuff. They're wonderful people. You get that link down below. You also get our bookshop link for our friends Buy the Book. They are a local bookshop here in Houston, and they are fantastic. You can buy books from your local bookshops or visit them, and they will definitely love any business that you send their way. So, I'm going to give you a brief description of Nobody's Darlin. This is for the summary on the back of the book. Time is running out. Lily's heat is nearing fast, and she's forbidden from pursuing the pack she truly wants. Life on the compound isn't good enough for an Omega like Lily. At least that's what she's consistently been told by the prez of the Dead Palms Motorcycle Club, or MC, who just so happens to be her stepfather. But Lily never was one to follow rules. With new members patching into Dead Palms, it seems like Lily's luck might turn with club members willing to break the rules with her and form a pack. But when one of them is your estranged stepbrother, a nomad no one trusts, and a beta who needs to rein in his temper, all hell might just break loose. Lies, club rifts, and pure mayhem stand between Lily and the men she knows she should be with. Only time will tell if the club will survive the betrayal and if they're strong enough to form the bonds that they desperately want. So, we are about to get into spoiler territory. I will be posting trigger warnings in the chat for all of the triggers that are mentioned in this book. But if you have not read this book and want to, maybe come back to us after you read it. But for now, spoilers! Okay, so as always, we're going to start out with our likes about the book. Sid, what did you like about this book?
I'm gonna start off, I think, okay, so obviously there was not an audiobook for this, so I did have to read the physical book. One of my actual favorite things, and I don't think and no, it doesn't really have anything to do with the story. I loved in this book that at the front of the book, there was not only a map, but a Spotify playlist link from the author. I was like, excuse me, thank you. That was a lot of Lana Del Rey. That's not from me, but thank you. Like, I enjoy that. Like, as someone, like, when I play character like D&D and stuff, like, I make playlists for my characters. I have a slew of them. Like, it just helps me get in the vibe. It helps me, like, immerse myself a little better. So having a playlist and things so that I could kind of sit there and be like, okay, we're getting vibes. We've got, all right. I did like that. Next.
Okay.
Oh.
I agree.
I feel like the rest of my feelings are very complicated, so.
That's fair. That is fair. I also really do enjoy when artists or really anybody, like fan fiction artists or authors, they all like decide to incorporate music with it, because sometimes you want to listen to something while reading, and the fact that they paired that perfectly, I was like, okay, this is cool. I appreciated that as well. Okay, Claire, what did you like about the book?
Oh no. I don't know. No, I have mixed feelings as well about this book. It was hope. Well, we can talk about my hopes later, but I don't know. I guess I don't know what I liked. I like that they put in a black character. I love that Cash was this big black dude. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah. He was very much a very good character. I enjoyed him as well, and they did have. It wasn't a no diversity. It was slightly.
Yeah.
You still only get
Let's
two
throw a
flavors,
bit in.
though. You either get olive skin
Yeah,
or
yeah.
pitch black. You still only get one of the two.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah.
Cash was my favorite.
I liked Tate, but then he became too whiny at the end, so
Except for
it
whiny.
potential.
That's fair. Okay, Jen, what did you like about the book?
Well, a lot of things, but mostly that my brain did not trip over any of the wording. Like, it was just a quick, like, my brain just gets caught on stuff sometimes, like if the wording is like jumbled, but this just flew. Like, there was nothing for my brain to get caught up on. Like, I felt like the wording just kind of went. And so I really liked that. It made it a really quick read for me.
I agree. That was I appreciated that a lot. With the pacing, I felt like it could have been slightly better, but I felt like at least there wasn't trying to over complicate things in a way that wasn't understandable to the reader. So I agree. Lee, what did you like about the book?
Okay, well, I will apologize for my ambient noise, but I really like, this is my first, other than like reading blurbs and little things, my first foray into Omegaverse. And so I really liked, because I'm a nerd and I like world building, so I like just being introduced to all of the characters and concepts and kind of interplay of dynamics between the different castes of society, if you will. It made me do tons of extra external research and like, well, what is this and why is it this way and what does that really mean? And I don't know if this was my favoriteest book, but I do like that the subject matter was interesting, and I like the alternative universe build-up and just the fantasy of it all. It's great for escapism, so I appreciate that very much.
I have to agree with you. I think that the parts that I definitely liked were I really did like the characters for the most part. I felt like they were real people that I could definitely see in the world. I felt like there was a lot that could be different, and once okay, so I do have to let everyone know that this book, although it is Omegaverse, it is not shifters. They say it very plainly, very clearly right off the bat. This is not a shifter book. So this is not wolves or dragons or whatever kind of shifter you're thinking. But this is kind of more of an alternative universe where instead of humans, it's these people who have destinations. So you're either an alpha, a beta, or an omega. So you're one of these three. You have some sort of kind of animalistic kind of brain, and you have some kind of animalistic kind of thing going on with the genital region, which we will get into.
I would say it's like primal.
Yeah.
I would say it's primal.
Okay. That's a good way to put it. I've read.
It was.
Mhm.
I like that it was steady though across the board. Like there was no minority here.
Mhm.
Like that's just how the entirety of society was. Even at the end, where you see where they were talking to people like fakes and traveling and stuff like that. Like it's that way through the whole thing.
Yeah.
I liked that.
Yeah, that was good. So basically you're either an alpha, omega, or a beta, and betas, from what I was gathering about this world, were the most normal-ish kind of human that you could get, because they didn't have the heat that the omegas go into. They didn't have the
Bonding ability.
yes, thank you. They didn't have the bark that the alphas have and things like that. Yes, Jen.
So I just thought of a very. So it's basically a dom sub switch.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah,
what I thought too.
Basically.
it's pretty much it's that, but it's also not quite that, because there's still
Yeah. But the betas are kind of like that
Yeah.
switchy area. You
yeah,
know?
they
But
could
betas,
uh-huh.
I was just gonna say betas are switchy in that they can be dominant or not, but like,
Yeah,
but I don't know, but
but
Yeah, I
they're the
have opinion.
most human-like in our world that we can kind of get to.
Yeah, can we say human presenting?
Sure, yeah, that'll work. So this book definitely has things in it that I'm like, I've read Omegaverse stuff. I've read tons of Omegaverse stuff. Most of it, if not all of it, are shifters. The fact that this was not, it took me out of it somewhat, and it made my brain go into, okay, if I think of it as like an alternative universe, that I can get a little bit more into than, Omegaverse. It was weird for me. So that was just me, but honestly, I appreciated the pacing of the story. I felt like a little bit could have been a little faster. There was some parts of it that I was like, this reminds me of like Quizilla back in the day, or fanfics, like how they kind of go, oh, this is what I'm wearing today, that kind of thing. However, as the story progressed, and once it gets to its exciting events, basically, it really ramped up pretty quick. And I appreciated I honestly kind of appreciated some of the tenderness with which the guys treated their omegas, and I was like, okay, that's great. I appreciate that so much. So, okay, guys, we're gonna try to be as nice as possible, but also to give our opinions, because this is what this is for. What didn't we like about this book? I will start with Sid.
I'm gonna try not to be super critical because I know that part of the reason I didn't like this book is that I didn't fully understand, like, as you just said, like, this is supposed to be sort of an AU. It's not really set, like, because I think a lot of my complaint was that, if I'm being honest, I think the book would have been better if they were actually shifters of some sort, like, and I guess that's me from, like, thinking of, like, the anatomical standpoint of certain things. I just was like, I don't, why? And then I didn't mind the biker, like, a lot of it wasn't bad. I did feel like this book was about 200 pages too long. I feel like there was a lot of point of view switching at really weird intervals. Like, we're dead ass in the middle of something. Why are we changing point of views so suddenly? And sometimes I can get it, like, all right, cool, like, we're gonna switch, like, I'm good with that. But sometimes it felt forced, like we're just changing point of views to change point of views. We got to shake this up. Yeah, I thought the book was really long. I did, like, the plot was okay. Like, I'm neither here nor there with that. It just, like, there was nothing about it that was really, like pulled me in and held me in this book. I was reading it, and it took me a little while to get into it, and then by the last 100 or so pages, I was like, is there anything else, and is there anything else that's gonna happen? Is there any, like, what are we doing? And I felt like the climax of this book was very anticlimactic. Like, it never felt like there was any, like, I know that that's one of those, like, oh, well, that's just school and textbook, like, you have to have, you know, like, your beginning, your build up, your climax, and then, you know, like, and I know that's not necessarily how it has to be, but it felt like this book never even hit that peak. It felt like it just kind of kept, like, oh, we're gonna, and then but we were being teased. I didn't like that. But it was just one of those, like, nothing stood out. I didn't love most of the characters. Like, I did not feel attached at all to Lily. Like, and I don't know if it's just one of those things that she's just not my girl. Like, she's just, we're not the same. Like, I don't relate. But she just wasn't for me. I did like.
You're not on OnlyFans trying to make money on the weekends?
Sure not. No shade to anybody who does. That is work. And
Yeah.
you were valid for doing it. I couldn't.
100%.
Props to you. She just, and it wasn't even that. It was just, like, I guess she had this, like, wilting flower demeanor for me that rubs me the wrong way, and that's across the board with any character. I am not a damsel girly. But I did like the guys. Like, I did enjoy most of the side characters. I enjoyed the guys. Cash was my favorite. I sat there and I'm like, the guys were what made it worth reading to me, not so much her.
Yeah.
I wasn't compelled by her. I didn't find her like particularly endearing. She's alright.
It was there.
She was there. I guess it was one of she was there. It felt like everything was happening to her, and that she didn't seem to be very proactive in anything that was actually happening. And I'm like, girl, do something. Anything. And then when she was finally like, I want to set up my own dates, I'm like, okay. Progress, good. What else? Like, come, girlfriend, come on.
So, part of what I was getting from a lot of this was these are ideas that Sarah probably was thinking about would make a really interesting character, and it felt like they weren't quite fleshed out enough.
Yeah.
Because a couple of things felt like they were just left hanging. And I was like, I wish we would have gotten a conclusion to that, or a better way to end that idea, wrapped up in a nice little bow or something. So I 100% understand what you're saying, and yeah. Cash's daddy, I'm just saying.
He could have had his own book,
Yes.
like for real.
I'd read
He
it.
could just do a whole
Yes.
Cash book.
Yes.
I want to know
Absolutely.
about the skeletons in that man's closet. Like, he lost his.
Yes,
he lost his shit.
because
I want to know what happened. I want to know who hurt him.
there are piles
Like-
of them.
Yes.
Yeah. I want to know who hurt him.
I do too.
I just want to talk.
And I want to see them die.
I agree with that. Okay.
I think that's enough pretty heavy criticism.
Hey, opinions are opinions, so people may not agree, and that's okay. And we're
That's
just giving what we feel like are ours. So this is
Nothing is one size fits all.
exactly. I have learned this so much with going to different book clubs and being parts of different discussions about things, that people will absolutely have different opinions and be like, hey, I really enjoyed this because of this, and I'm like, I didn't think about it that way. I'm gonna go into it thinking about that, and maybe it'll actually change my opinion a little, or something. So, you know, this is a welcoming place for all opinions. So Claire, what did you have a hard time with this book?
So there's a few things. It was also my first foray into, Omegaverse stuff, and I wanted more. It wasn't enough. It was just it felt like it felt like she dipped her toes in. And I agree, if there were shifters, I felt like we could have went full on into it.
Mm-hmm.
I was ready for some nasty, dirty sex scenes, and with the Alpha Omega, especially like hearing about the Alpha Omega verse, like from other people. I was like, oh yeah, we're about to get real nasty, and I'm all about it. I mean, the 4 people scene, I was all about it. I was here for it, but I wanted more. I also liked that it had a plot, but like, she could have filled in the freaking spaces. Like, we were just getting bits and pieces of what happened to the club and what Kurt did, and it's like, I want to know really, like, what did he do? Like, give me the full-on details. And I felt like they just touched the surface because they were just trying to give Lily bits and pieces. Well, tell me about all the horrible shit this man did. Tell me what made him deserve killing. Like, make me hate him full on too. Like, and I felt like there could have been more of that. It's like, you gave me so many pages of beating around the bush. Don't beat around the bush. Give it to me. And that's what I didn't like. It's just like, hey,
Yeah.
I want more.
Yeah.
I want more sexy, dirty, sloppy sex with 4 people.
Yeah.
And I want more of the plot, the actual, like, she built up this, I felt like it didn't give me a lot, right? Like, I agree with Sid, but like, I felt like it was because she was giving me crumbs, and it was like, you could have given me more, you could have gave me a whole cookie.
Yeah, you could have.
Yeah.
I agree.
That's how I felt.
I'm like, I agree with that.
That's
If it had been really fleshed out and we'd have gotten into like the dirty, gritty politics of things, I feel like I'd have eaten that up.
Yeah.
Like,
Especially,
as someone who likes some substance with my smut, I'm like, I feel like, yeah, if you'd have really give me the politics, give me all the backstabbing, give me all the give me the ugly stuff, because that's where I'm like, oh man, I gotta see how that plays out. Like, all right.
yeah.
First-
Well, especially somebody who like loves Sons of Anarchy, like was upset. I was like, okay, take me back to my Sons of Anarchy days. I love me a boy in a leather cut. Like, let's go. I was ready to be on board, but I want the juicy, dirty details that, like, even in Sons of Anarchy, they can't get into. Like, that's the point of reading the book, is because you can get that, like, backstory that, yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's what I want.
There was a lot of characters that you only heard their name like once.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, why did we even need to be introduced to whatever that
Yeah.
person's name was? Like, they're never gonna pop up again.
I know.
Yeah.
So I have read some things about, like, in the later part of the book where they rescue the Omegas that are in that facility. The wraiths are keeping them at, where the human, the human trafficking kind of thing kind of happens. They apparently some of those characters, some of the Omegas that are in that house are in later series or later books that she has as well. So that's why we
Okay.
only get like a couple of names.
Maybe
here and
that's
there.
why some of the characters were introduced.
Yeah.
But she's still giving us more dish on Prez, right? Like, she kills them all. Like, this is the one chance to give us the dirty background between Prez and Teresa and Dredd. Like,
Yeah.
what are their stories? How did they meet? Like, you like switching points of view so much. Give us Teresa's point of view. Like,
Yeah.
you know?
I wonder what happened to Shelby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder what happened to
A
Shelby.
lot.
I know.
A
Right.
lot.
So much happened to Shelby, but I want to make sure that she's okay. Like,
Yeah,
give
That's
me
why I'm like, I want book 2. I want to know what happens to Shelby.
yeah.
I
How
like
she
Shelby.
heals. Yeah. I agree.
We'll
I
have to see if there's another one later on that she's the main character in.
absolutely. So like I said, some of these characters I'm like invested in, and I was very much like, I liked these characters. I will say that, to your earlier point, Sid, the guys were much more interesting and vastly more in
They're more
depth
complex.
than I felt like Lily's point of view was half the time, because you really got to know why they were acting the way that they were, where she could only see surface stuff. You got into, like, honestly, with Tate, I will just say this, with Tate in particular, he if you just look at what he does on the surface, he's a shitty character. But if you go into his actual mindset and see why he's doing the things he's doing or saying the things he's saying, yeah, then you're like, okay, great. I like him a lot more now.
To play off of that, and I guess this is like me sitting here thinking about it now, like, I did not think Lily was a super complex character. I did not connect to her at all. I do have to wonder at this point if that was not also part of the point. Like, she is naive, she has been sheltered, they've been telling her all these things. I mean, but once again, that's not something, it's not compelling. It is a statement of, like, how she was raised and the way she was taught to think things, and, like, it doesn't endear her to me any further, but I guess I could understand why that would make sense to her as a character.
That's fair. That is fair. Okay, Jen, tell us what you wish was a little different about this book.
Okay. So, I want to say one thing first, though, before I talk about what
absolutely.
I did. So, every book has a purpose. I give this one a 9 out of 10 on the dissociation scale, because this is the perfect book to read to just not think.
Yeah.
It was quick. All of the stories were very straightforward. You never got caught up anywhere. There wasn't, I mean, honestly, like, when I think about doing a book for book club, I think about the stuff that you can, like, plumb the depths of, like, the issues that they're dealing with, and, some of the intricacies of the dynamics of the characters and stuff like that. But this book didn't have any of this. This was just Saturday afternoon, wasting time, dissociation book, and it was great for it. And I think that a lot of what you were saying I agree with absolutely, because from a cultural standpoint, if you look at her cultural norms, she made perfect sense. For her culture and for the way that they had everything set up, she made perfect sense. And the guys were so dynamic that it was, well, okay. In some ways. Hash was not very dynamic. He didn't change a lot. But we got to see a
Doesn't
lot
need to
more.
change a lot.
He really doesn't. Like, he can just stay that way. It's
Yeah.
cool. But I really just think it's not one of those. It was just telling a story.
Mhm.
I don't feel like we were there to see anybody grow. I don't feel like we were there to see any big revelations or anything like that. It's almost like it was just like a little vignette, just a little snippet of something that happens one time, you know? And for that, it's good. But like Sid said, a couple hundred pages too much for
Yeah.
what that is, you know?
Yeah.
Honestly. I mean, you could have told that story very succinctly in a lot of the same, like, I don't think you would have lost anything literally knocking off 100 pages.
No. You
You could have done that and still given all of the depth that you had already.
Yes. Because, like I was saying earlier, it very much read to me like a someone who's just starting off, like, writing just right for fun and kind of learning as they go, how to properly round out their character and give better, more interesting dialogue and going back and forth between the characters. And you don't necessarily need all of that, like, filler fluff that's, you know, oh, I'm wearing this today because I wanted to be cute or something. And I'm like, okay.
I mean, the only person that really does any changing in there at all is Tate.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He's the only one that changes.
Yep.
Everybody else stays true to who they were before they got there.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And you're just finding out about different things. That's it.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not really, there's not a lot of there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But Saturday afternoon, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Just lose yourself and, you know, not think for a few hours. It was great. I liked it.
Absolutely. Well, that's a good way to look at it, because that's also it very much, like, I'm gonna keep saying it. It very much is like that you're learning how to write kind of overview, in my opinion, because I'm like, yeah, I've read tons of fan fiction like this where you could very obviously tell that they were kind of figuring it out, and I don't have a problem with that. I just also wish it wasn't a published 500-page book.
She figured it out with Tate. She just needs to do that with like 3 or 4 more people at the same time.
There you go.
Wind it all together. Make it just a touch more smutty for Claire Bear. And then we will be A-okay.
I agree. Lee, tell us your opinions.
Okay. So I think I'm kind of gonna be in the same party lines with everyone that it's not my favorite. I consider myself a really easy judger of books, if you will. Like, I'm not too critical. I've read a lot of ridiculous stuff. I've read 3 and 4 books in a series that I kind of hated because I was just curious about the story. But I kind of hated it the whole time. And this one, I didn't hate it. I didn't find a lot of elements that I hated. There were some definite dark themes for sure. I get that. And I've read other Motorcycle Club books, and I've read other shifter animal perspective books, and I didn't feel like this really hit on any of those levels for me to those other genres that I read. And I just couldn't get engaged. I tried, and I tried, and I came back again, and I finished, but I wasn't happy about it, which, you know, in this realm, when we finish, we want to be happy about it. But I just, I felt like maybe there was more missing or more to the story that could have been there. And then I felt like the time that was spent in build up, which I appreciate, and I'm not a writer, so I'm not trying to judge because I can understand it must be incredibly hard and complex to do the storyboards and figure all the things out and track everybody and get in different people's minds and make it all come together, which is why I love books
Yeah.
so much, because these people are just amazing at what they do, taking me away from everything I'm thinking into a whole nother world. But I don't feel like that happened. I just feel like I kept like trying to care and trying to be involved, and I also am a bit of a sucker for a really strong kind of gritty FMC. Like, I like the women that are tough and have been through some shit and you're not gonna mess with them, and then they find love, and it's just like I didn't really feel that about Lily either, so I just kind of kept missing all the things I wanted to connect to. But it wasn't a bad read. I mean, it's interesting. And like I said, it was introducing some new things to me that I maybe had seen evidences of, but it wasn't truly like the Omega verse. So I liked it from a learning perspective. And again, I'm saying a positive in the negative section, but
No,
I didn't
good.
like much else. I didn't like much else, to be honest. So, yeah.
Honestly, and I think that this one in particular, for a lot of us, it feels like, had some good things and also some bad things that we kind of were like, okay, so it's kind of a mixed bag. So wherever you want to put good comments in, I'm good with that. Whatever you want to say, this could have been better, that's okay too. Because like I said, opinions are very much appreciated. So,
Well, to be fair. Oh, sorry.
Sorry. I have a critical thinking question when you're done with your thought, Lee.
Okay. All I was going to say is, to be also fair, for full accountability, I was also co-reading, because I do this a lot. I've got the ADHD brain. I have to read like 2 or 3 books at once. I was reading a book where there was a 6 couplet, if you will, 6 people. And so, as compared to the 4, I was kind of saying, well, I just saw 6, so I mean,
fair.
Or
So
nothing.
yeah, so that was also me going, well, I've seen better.
Go ahead, Jennifer.
Okay, so I have a critical thinking question for everybody. I want you to think about this for a second before you answer. If you read the same book and Shelby was the main character, would you have enjoyed it?
Like Shelby with her personality, like the way she is.
No, if it was her point of view.
So the same
event.
story from her?
Yes.
Yeah.
Same events, same everything. But from her point of view. How much more would you have loved that book?
I felt that would have been a lot more compelling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then when
she
it got
had
to
a
see
lot
more of
more
the sweet
happen.
and stuff, because like there are 4 of them, and you got to see Shelby, and the other 3 were kind of like, well, yeah, they're there.
Yeah.
But it's like this little group of women who live in this house together, and they're, they seem to all have a great relationship with each other, and they have a great relationship with all the guys, and it's like they're here and they're living their lives here. It's like, okay, so but what do they do, like, in their time,
So,
other than the guys?
yeah.
Like, but like,
Well,
I wanted to know more about them. Like,
flashes.
they're mentioned and they're like dangled in front of you, and they're like, well, we're gonna focus on Shelby.
I
And we
know.
love Shelby.
And I'm like,
But I'm like, but what about the other 3 ladies? What about the other 3 sweet butts?
like,
I want
yeah.
to know.
I'm very, like, I was trying to figure out how to describe this to someone, and I was like, sweet butts are basically like there for the motorcycle club, like, to be
Morale boosters.
Yes.
sure.
That's what the military calls
Has
them.
anybody seen them called sweet butts anywhere else?
I saw it like a few times in the book, but I don't know why.
I just mean it anywhere else. Has anybody
No.
heard any
Like
called
in the
sweet butts?
MC
Not in
kind
another
of
book.
world, I
No.
haven't
Yeah,
heard that
I like
either.
that term. I like it.
It's
I like
it's
it.
it's something.
It felt very biker, like, cause like you got your old lady and all that other stuff. Like the sweet butts, like,
Yeah.
it's not anybody's old lady.
It
but
felt authentic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It felt authentic. I did like that particular choice of phrasing for them,
Old lady.
because it also
sweet
didn't
butts.
feel degrading. Like, it's cute, but not like degrading or rude.
Yes.
It felt part of the lifestyle. So
Yeah.
it worked in this world. But yeah, so my opinions that I've been giving throughout this video were that it has some things that it needed to do better, like the pacing. The first 100 so pages that they were kind of setting up the world, I could have dealt without a lot of that, to be honest, because I got within the first like 2 or 3 chapters that she was really into Axel. I was like, okay, great, I get this. And then that, you know, eventually there's going to be other people coming in to get patched into this because other chapters are closing for some mysterious reason that we're not going to get into, which they could have been dropping little things along the way of like, hey, you need a little bit of information here and there to kind of, because otherwise what happened at the end is like, here's all of this information all at once, and I'm just gonna pummel you with this information, and I'm
Sort of
like,
rounded it out a little.
And that's. Go ahead. Sorry, I had another thought.
You're okay. What were you gonna say?
I was like that. You said that, and then like with our like crumbs of things, and this is another one of those like we love Shelby, but also other crumbs of things that were dropped in this book that I'm like, whoa, no, I want to hear about that. Leon and Mickey, and then like, okay, so what happened there?
Yeah.
I want to know. And then with Shelby, I'm like, okay, so we've got this whole like, obviously this is touchy and a bit like things that got a little tempestuous there. I want to know what happened.
It
I
wasn't
do
even a
too.
triangle. It was like a teeter-totter.
Right. I'm like, so what's going on? Like, why couldn't we have explored that? I mean, like, I guess my point to that is that, like, why couldn't we have explored that? But we didn't explore that, and that's fine. But then why was it there?
Yeah. If you're not going to
Why
go
give
into
me that and then not extrapolate?
Right back to your
Exactly.
teasing, Sydney.
it's
Exactly. Teasing. I'm being teased.
you're giving me background information without
brass
even
here.
like saying what happened. Like,
It's not relevant.
it's you're again not even telling me at this point. You're not showing me, you're not telling me. So I'm like, okay, then did I need that? And she did that a lot in this book. That was also a little that was frustrating for me because I'm very much a nosy person.
Even Leon's story, she could have given us more of, like, how did he become a rat for the Wraiths? Like, how did that exactly happen? How did the dad convince him? What was he struggling with when he decided to do it? What did he actually get into? And, like, what kinds of things did he experience as a Wraith? You know, how was he going back and forth? Why was he drinking so much? Yes, he's torn up inside, but why was drinking the thing that he decided to, do?
I gotta.
Yeah.
Circling back to that, would this book we've liked this book better if it was from Shelley's point of view? I feel like I would have sobbed.
Yeah.
I was sad. I was sad when Leon got shot. I was sad.
Yeah.
But I feel like if I'd have gotten to read that from Shelby's point of view, I would have been absolutely devastated.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel the devastation. And I would love for that to have been the thing that just ripped my freaking heart out.
I was not genuinely
petitioning for a book to be written from Shelby's point of view.
Yeah.
Including stuff about Leon. Like, I would devour that. I am so sure.
I think my biggest gripe has to be that I was not genuinely moved the entirety of the book. Like, I was very much like, I'm reading this, but I mean, that's sad that he got shot, and I'm sad that they're like weeping and trying to get out of this situation, but I'm not okay. I'm sorry, I'm just not that invested, I guess.
My heart doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I don't part of it is that there was no real stakes, I guess, in any of it for me, because I was just like, this this doesn't feel as like gripping as I've read other
I don't
books.
feel like any of it was fleshed out enough for you to feel any of her emotional ties to Eddie.
Yeah. That's fair.
So without an emotional tie to him, his death just didn't hit. You know,
Yeah.
because we just didn't get that feeling like she really loved him or cared about him. Like, oh, you know, this is the person that I grew up with, da 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 da. We didn't see any substance of that.
No, give me the backstory of when they were kids and when they
Yeah.
moved
Right?
over to that and the relationship they had when they only had each other, and give me that.
Just like I felt
Give me something that is worth her laying on a floor with bullets going around her.
yeah.
Yeah, like she's
Because that ain't it.
Yeah, they had to carry her out of there. I'm like, see, and I'm like, you're telling me that, but I'm not feeling it.
I know.
Like,
It's again the
Yeah.
telling, not showing aspect that I'm like, you have to give me that. If you don't give me that, I'm not going to be that invested. So
because like I think about it, I'm like, I've got siblings, and I think of never wanting to be in a situation like that, but I think of like how much it would hurt to be in that situation with
like
my
how
siblings, and I'm like, I
devastated
can't
you would be.
imagine. And obviously, living something and reading about it are going to be two very different things. We know this, but it's one of those. But it didn't even tug at my heartstrings a little bit. Like I didn't feel that empathy there. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, like that's sad. Yes, I'm sad that happened. Like that sucks. I have questions, but like,
But I was very
yikes.
aware of reading this, not being
I wasn't
in that moment.
Immersed.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Or even when she gets taken by the wraiths and she just stops fighting, right?
Yeah.
Like, I felt like that would have hit so much harder if she would have set us up with she experienced this in her past life, and this is where she learned to freeze instead of fight, right? Like, just even those responses, it's like they were meant to have a punch, but they didn't.
Yeah.
Like,
Bro,
and
Shelby, with her back turned, like dismissing her questions during that one scene after she came back, that hit me harder than anything else in the book.
It did.
agreed.
Shelby was a very well-rounded character, and I don't know why we couldn't get that with Lily. That was
I was
that
having
was
a bad
frustrating.
day when I read that, and let me tell you, it was not easy to read.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yep.
go ahead.
No.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say one of the other things that we've kind of touched on is that there was really no diversity. There was Cash, who was the only black man, and then there was Mickey, who was very obviously a gay man. That is it.
Yeah.
That is basically it. That is all we got.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Well, there's
about
rednecks
everybody
and assholes. There's
But why do you think a black man would only be hanging out with rednecks and assholes? I don't understand white people.
No, I was talking about the redneck because of the guy with the dogs.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh, yeah, the guy with
Because
the
of
dogs.
rape.
yeah.
I'm like, okay, wait, there's different levels of shitty humanity here.
That's true. So that really also took me out of it. As for Lily in general, for her character, I feel like we were given little crumbs of like ways that she could have been a lot more interesting that we did not get fully fleshed out. Like the fact that she was making money as a cam girl, and she felt no shame about it. She was like, this is what I'm doing. And she was like, I'm doing this to secure my my future and stuff like that, so that I don't have to ever worry about that. I was like, okay, I like that strength. I like where that came from. But then it just literally, like, when Tate busted in after he saw her, and by the way, this was by the way, I have to add this also little caveat. She was so unsafe about doing this too. Like, the only thing that she was doing was like saying like her face was not in frame ever, but I'm like, you have to be careful because you never know.
fact that she didn't like, change her background setting, right? And make it like an all-white background or like.
And my mind immediately when Tate busted in and said Lily or whatever, like got mad and said her name, I was immediately like, oh my god, they all heard her name. They all know who she is. This is gonna be a plot point later. It wasn't. It just dropped, and I was like, all right. But literally, it felt like up until the part where all of the guys basically said that they're going to bond with her and be bound with her. And then she gets kidnapped. After that point, it took off plot-wise. But before that, it dragged a bit. And I was like, okay, I can see where you're trying to go with this, but little bit more. Little faster. But
I keep going back to what you said at the beginning, Jess. It's like somebody learning how to write.
yeah.
You know, like this is something you would expect from early on in an author that, you know, you get more complex books from, I think.
Yeah, that's where I think most of this comes from. But honestly, this was still a pretty good book for me. It was a book. It was a book that was kind of had some things that needed to work out, had some interesting characters, and I don't feel bad having read this, so I'm like, okay, I read it. But I do have a fun little, a somewhat fun little game that we could do. All right, this is fuck, marry, kill, but it's heat, bond, kill. So.
Ugh,
yeah, I know.
The kill list is really long.
I know, right? So, but I'm gonna give you a couple of groupings. It's not the best, but it's some. So the first one, obviously, we have Tate, Cash, and Axel. And I have a feeling a lot of us are gonna say the same thing, but I still am interested. Out of those three characters, who would you just want to be in heat with? Who would you just want to bond with? And who would you want to kill? Yeah. Yes.
This was not this was a no-brainer.
Yeah. Okay.
So obviously, bonding Cash because yes. Heat, Tate, kill Axel. Axel was like,
Yeah.
Axel was not.
I guess the only one I could stand to bond because he's a little bit of a pushover, and I need that.
See, and on the opposite, and then my husband would tell you that if he was still late, I need someone who looks at me and goes, "No, ma'am, you may not." like he doesn't tell me what to do. That's not allowed. But like, he is the person who'll sit there and be like, "Hey, you need to reel it in." I'm like, okay. I got carried away,
but I don't want it.
I got carried away, didn't I? And he's like, "Yeah, you did." So yeah, no, I need someone who's gonna sit there and be like, "You need to just scale it just a little bit."
That's fair.
And yeah, I can't have an enabler. I can't have a hype guy. That would go so poorly for me.
That's fair. So, Jennifer, who would you want to keep?
Oh, I would absolutely kill Tate so fucking quick. I can't deal with that crap. Dude, no, get over yourself. Can we stop? Because this is not all about Tate show. He cashed all day, every day.
Yeah.
All day, every day. But I mean, I'd have to bond Axel because the other two would just fucking die. Like I can't.
That's fair. Lee.
I gotta have. I'm too alpha for that.
Oh, okay. So you're the alpha in this situation. Okay, gotcha.
Yes.
Lee, who would you heat, bond, kill?
Well, I'm gonna agree with Jennifer because Tate was giving me some of my ex vibes. So kill him. I just
Yes.
got some of that, and I was like, "All right, this dude's an asshole. He
Nope,
might have a
gotta go.
reason, but I'm tired of assholes, so that's would be my choice."
Fair.
And I think definitely Bond Cash because he's awesome, and then I guess Heat with Axel because he's a tryhard, and we love that.
All right.
I love that. I should say.
Claire.
I'm gonna be that toxic bitch who says that she's gonna fucking go and heat with Tate. I can't help it. I was waiting the entire book for her to get in it with Tate. I was like, I know he your stepbrother. Maybe I got issues with this, but he was my type. I mean, I don't know what it is. My toxic type, right? Like he's my toxic type. Like I
It was
like
combative.
His scenes were like, yes,
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
that.
Yes. Like when they actually finally start, when he goes to try to bond her, and this is where I ended the book. Like this is where I stopped. But when first thing he does is like fucking choke her neck, like grab her neck. I'm like, oh yes, this is what I've been waiting for. Like yes.
Yeah.
And he would stay all damn day. Like yes, he is my type. This is my
I
type.
never thought I could appreciate the word rut.
Okay.
But
That
it was
word,
such a great descriptor for this.
that word for me, because I've read lots of Omegaverse stuff, I'm so into it. In those books, I will say that. In those books, I'm like, yay. Okay. But yeah.
And then I think Mary Axel.
Aww. Wait, does that mean you're gonna kill Cash? Oh no.
Yeah. So I like Cash. He's
I
just
know. Yeah.
not my type. But you know, I like a very dominant. That's my Tate. And then I like a little, as we talked about earlier, switchy. And that's my Axel. And
Yeah.
I like that. But I also like that he goes to bat for her. And he's like fucking ruthless when it comes to I will kill a motherfucker. Excuse my language.
Yeah.
Yep.
No.
I absolutely love that about him. I think he was our day one.
Absolutely.
Well, and they all had moments where they were just fucking ruthless. So for that,
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, Cash too. I like when Cash flipped the switch. I was like, let's go. But I also wanted to see him flip the switch. So
Yes.
so
I
We
wanted
could
to
have
see
got like a
him
little
on
window of that. That would have been nice.
I loved okay, with Axel in particular, I really did love that he was like, I am going to make you feel safe. I'm always going to be here for you. I'm always going to make you like a priority. You are the person I'm choosing and all of these things. And I loved that. The fact that he was constantly referred to as the ruthless one, I felt like, okay, I don't quite see him as ruthless until like the few of those times that he said, you know, like he was defending her and stuff like that. Then I could see it a little bit, and I was like, okay. So I was like, okay.
but I think that's how come he could bond her and the two alphas were on board, right?
Yeah.
Like because he
Yeah.
It's almost like she had like a little bitty love story with him,
Yeah.
She did.
I love
where she
Mary.
didn't get that with the others.
Yes.
There's more chemical with that.
Yes. 100%.
I love that they took her and got married. Like
Agreed.
I thought that was
That was very
sweetest.
cute. That was very cute.
And I love that he was surprising about it. He was just like, look, I can't do this for you, but you know what I can do? Put a ring on it.
That was.
And I was like, I love the energy. I love the energy.
That's initiative there.
That's his little alpha moment.
Yes.
So For me, it'd probably be about the same as Sid, because I have to bond with Cash. I kind of want to go into heat with Tate, and I guess I'd have to kill Axel. But because honestly, Tate gives off okay, good effing energy times. Woo!
Y'all's favorite books are the enemies to lovers.
Yes.
Maybe.
Maybe. By the way, I just have to throw this out because we didn't really get into it, but there was one big scene of her going into heat and like her becoming like so animalistic in her, like she wasn't even talking at that point. And and it was just a big old F fest, and I was like, okay, that was fun. And I wish that we did have a little bit more of that. I'm just gonna say that. Okay, so for time wise, I'm going to go on to the next thing, and then we will be doing our wrap up. But the next thing is, what if we were in this alternative universe? Because that's the only way I can think about this. What would you think your destination would be? Would you be an alpha, a beta, or an omega? Because honestly, there's things I could see for all of us that would be kind of part of each thing.
Unpopular opinion, I'm gonna go first.
Okay.
I'm gonna volunteer to go first.
Go for
Because I
it.
would absolutely be, at this point in my life, an omega. Because I really relate to like stereotypical gender roles at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's not something that I ever have done before. And I think for a lot of people that changes as they age in different relationship situations and stuff like that. And so right now, absolutely, I will sit my ass at home and have as much sex as I want to and fucking nap. Let's go.
Fair enough. I like it. Lee, what would you be?
Yeah, that's a question. I don't know. I would have said, like, right out of the gate, I think I'm an alpha. I think I have to be in control, and I think I have to try to, orchestrate things. But I don't know that I agree with some of these alpha, or in this book.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would behave in the way that some of these alphas do. So in that case,
Did anybody see any female alphas?
No, but they said that there
this is what I'm
were-
saying. And I would want to be that. I'd be like, look, I am the
Did they?
first fucking female.
Yeah, they said
I
that
mean-
there were like male omegas and female alphas and stuff like that. So
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
It's a possibility. But I think after, again, just trying to kind of feel my way through the book and figure it out, I'd probably say more of a beta. I think that's where I'd wind up in this case. But I think I'd want to be an alpha. So maybe all the betas do want to be alphas. I don't know.
I mean, that's fair. Claire.
And it's so hard.
I
I
know.
like trying to think through it.
I know. What do I say?
No, I would not be an Omega, just because all Omegas in the book were pretty wimpy and like, except for Shelby, and just like didn't have any like self-agency, and that ain't me. It's not me.
Yeah.
But I guess I think about my current relationship. And some of y'all know my current relationship. Maybe don't think about that, but like, I'm just saying, I'm the alpha.
Yeah.
Totally an alpha. I like to be in control. I don't always like it, but I am mainly the one in control. I'm the planner. I'm the one who thinks out the shit. I'm the one who makes the big life moves. Like, I'm the alpha. Like,
Yeah. Fair enough.
I would be an
I
alpha
feel like
in the
Shelby is Omega goals.
Yeah. She is goals.
Yeah.
Sid.
I think I'm gonna go beta. And I think that's because I am too mouthy and the hell I won't. to be Omega.
Ah!
Like, you're not gonna tell me what to do.
You say you're a brat?
Yeah. Yeah.
No Brad
But
here.
I just don't think that's not, like, when I think about it, I'm like, that's not me. Like, when I think about the way that the dynamics in this universe specifically work, I'm like, that's not me. Like, I need something to do. Not this. Like, I want to be out. I want to be doing stuff. I don't want anybody to tell me I can't be doing stuff. I think the only thing that has nerfed me, 2 things have nerfed me from alphadom. One of them is that I have the attention span of a teaspoon. The other one is that I am terrible at making decisions. If I could make decisions and I had an attention span, alpha all the way. But I don't.
That's fair.
I'd have been too powerful. So I have to say beta. Just like, but beta like in the switchy, like I got some omega in me, I got some alpha, so we're just sitting straight in the middle of that, like,
Yeah.
here we are
Again,
like,
if you think about it as the dom sub switch, makes a little. I like that, honestly, Jennifer. That was a really good idea.
I think it's more of the caretaking roles as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, I could see myself as all 3, and also because it more so how I am right now. I would say I'm more beta / omega. I'm definitely not alpha, so I feel like that's where I am, kind of either beta or omega. I'm not really sure. Maybe I'd be a Shelby. That'd be great. Okay, so now we're going to rate Sarah Blue's Nobody's Darlin. We're gonna do a general rating and then a spice rating. So general rating first. I will start this one.
Will you remind us what the scale is? How high do we go?
Yeah. That's just gonna-
Oh, I'm sorry. It's 1 to 5 stars, and 1 to 5 chili peppers. So, 5 being the best thing you ever read, for both, or the best spice you've ever read. So for me, I'm going to start and say this was very much a middle of the road for me. So I am going to go ahead and give it 3 stars. 3 stars, 2.5, that kind of thing. Because it had things I liked, it had things I didn't. Could have been better. Pacing was a little slow, but I do love slow burns, so okay. Sid,
we're just doing general rating right now.
general rating.
Yeah, I'm gonna say middle of the road. I feel like I'm gonna go 2.5. Like, it's not the worst thing I've ever read. I don't know that I would recommend it to anybody though. Like, I don't think I'd go out of my way to do that. So I could take it or leave it. So I'm gonna say 2.5.
Okay. Claire.
I'm gonna go the same way. I didn't hate it, and I got close to finishing. I kept going because I am notorious for DNFing a book, right? That's how you say it.
Yeah.
I will, if I don't like it, I will put it down. Life is too damn short, and it kept me in it enough that I kept going. Especially because I wanted to know what happened, and I was hoping for more juicy plot. So I give it a 2.5. It wasn't the worst thing I've read, but it also wasn't like great, and I also will not recommend it to anybody.
Yeah.
Like I've told people I'm reading it,
Yeah,
but when I told them about it, but it's not something I'd suggest.
that's fair. Jen.
I give it a 2.
Okay.
Because, like I said, there's just no dynamic. I mean, it's not crap. I didn't stop reading it. 5 out of 5 on dissociation scale.
Yep.
But I'd give it a 2 because there's just no dynamic. Yeah, there's like 2 characters that changed, and the characters we wanted to see we didn't.
Yeah, that's fair. Lee.
Yep, I was gonna say 2, because again, I'm pretty easy to please when it comes to reading whatever, and I've read stuff that I didn't. Not that the writing was bad, but I just didn't like the subject matter, and I forced myself through it because I was curious. I didn't feel it on this one, so 2.
All right, spice rating. For spice for me, I am going to say probably 3. 3 spices, because honestly, I felt like we got some spice, we got some good stuff, but we also could have had more. The heat scene was great. The couple of scenes that led up to that was pretty good. I didn't hate them. I just wish there was more heat scenes. That's about it. Okay, Sid.
Spice level, I'm gonna give it, I'd say a 3. There were things that I would have liked more of. There were things that, like, I'm not gonna, how do I want to I'm like, how do I say this?
What would you have rather plumbed the depths of?
Woof.
No wolf. That's the problem. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Right. There's no wolves. Damn it. I think of the smut and stuff I've read, and there's plenty of it at this point.
Mhm.
I feel like it was good, but it wasn't the best.
Mhm.
I did not like the way that all of the scenes were put together.
Mhm.
Like, some of them I was just like, that could have been, like, in my brain of brains, it was just like, maybe, like, it could have been different. That could have been different. Or sometimes maybe it was just word choice. I don't know. But on the whole, I'm like, we got some respectable smut. And it was spicy. It wasn't like, oh, spicy. But, like, we gotta go. I'm gonna call it a solid 3 out of 5. It was there. It could have been hotter, but it was there.
Yep. All right. Claire.
I'm gonna go with a 2.5 because
That's fair.
I already told you about my disappointment. I thought this had so much potential. I was ready for some sloppy, messy. I wanted that in spades, and I wanted it more than we got it. Like, the heat scene, I agree, was spicy, and I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
But I wanted more. I thought, okay, now we're gonna get bonded, and now we're gonna really go at it. And I was like ready, and it just never got me there.
I have read stuff that they really go at it once they get bonded, and I'm like,
I wanted to be shocked. I wanted it to be so filthy. I was gonna be like, oh, I'm clutching my pearls.
I wanted to blush.
oh bye.
I wanted to. I beg your finest pardon. Yeah, as I'm listening to, like, as I'm reading this, like, oh, like,
that's what I wanted, especially with the potential of the alpha omega bonding and the sex that's supposed to initiate. I was just like, let's get in it, and especially because they also have this mental connection. Like, I'm ready for more of that in spades, and I didn't get it. So
Yeah, I get you. I'm right there with you. So
it had potential. It had
Yes.
so much potential.
I agree. Jennifer, what's your spice rating?
Unpopular opinion, I give it a 2.
A 2. That's
And
okay.
that's just because of the DP, which was completely culturally appropriate in this setting.
Yeah. Fair
So,
enough.
like, what was there? Anybody?
There was
Anything that's not a normal Friday fucking night?
2. There was one scene with Axel, one scene with Cash, and then this. And then at the very end,
what I'm saying,
they
like,
started
there's
to
not-
get something else going, but that was it.
A bit of a dominant scene with the tape.
Well, that was the start of the heat, though.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, yeah, it
oh,
just
you're
wasn't
talking
a lot
about
of- bonding
Oh, no, you're right. You're right. There was
Yeah.
technically 5, I guess. But yeah. But it wasn't.
Yeah. There's just not a lot that was like there was no boundaries. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like everything within that. I guess I judge off of cultural norms now. I guess because everything was normal for that culture.
Mhm.
Like that was a wholesome sex scene in that universe.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know?
That's fair.
That's
Actually,
what it was.
That is very fair.
That makes sense.
like
That was
everybody was
wholesome.
so cool about this. Then when they had to discuss it, everyone was just like, "This is what we're doing. All right, let's
Yeah.
do it."
That was
Even when
wholesome.
they were like,
That was Friday night.
Even when they were thinking about it, they're like, this isn't my favorite thing, but like,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay.
I did like the fact that the guys were like on rotation kind of thing because they were like, I need sleep, I need to eat. She's just driving us crazy. She's just ravenous.
Like,
I'm like,
they're like, you're very
"Ah."
I
demanding.
volunteer as tribute, but at the same time,
Yep. All right, Lee, what is your spats rating?
Yeah, I was gonna say a 3 because as much as I wasn't super into the story, I did read the heat scene a couple times.
A couple times.
Yeah. Well,
Read
at
the
first,
details.
I was
Lee, like,
kind
I had
of
to reread.
confused. I was a little
That's fair.
confused because I was trying to like because I don't know. I just feel like I don't, and maybe you guys have had this kind of situation again. And I was reading another book where there was a lot of people, but I could clearly track like there was personalities that each one kind of portrayed. And so when you're getting into like the group sex situation, it's like one kind of does the one thing and one, like you kind of, they play their roles. And I was getting a little confused a bit, so I had, and it was pretty good. So I read it a couple times. So I'm a 3. I'm a 3 peppers or yeah,
Peppers,
whatever.
Yeah. Spats peppers. Yeah. All right. So that was our review for Nobody's Darlin. I'm so glad you all joined us for this wonderful talk. Next week, or I'm sorry, not next week, on the 7th of March, we will be doing a fanfic, and this is one that I submitted, and I'm very excited about it. It's called Puddle Jumping by RZZMG, and yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's a Hermione, so yay! Please join us for that one. Thank you so much again for staying and hanging with us tonight, and we will see you next time. Have a wonderful night. Also, be good
Night,
people. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.